Great. Perfect. Thank you. All right, welcome. Let me share my screen. Oops, sorry. It's a little bit, let me, my name is Chen Chen, and I am the instructor for this course. We also have another instructor, instructor, Professor Kevin Bai. So let me introduce everybody and quickly, can you say your name and which year are you in? Let's start with Mike.
Hi, I am Mike. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't see the green thing pop up. Yeah, no, I'm Mike. I am a senior in electrical engineering, and I am here.
Great, welcome. How about Ty? Thanks.
Hello, my name is Ty, and I'm also a senior in electrical engineering.
Great. Julian.
Hi, I'm Jillian. I am a graduate student here in electrical engineering, and I'm in my final semester working underneath Dr. Tolbert.
Great, welcome. Next, how about Caitlin? Is that Caitlin? Did I pronounce it right? Okay, great. Caitlin.
I'm Caitlin Burton, and I'm a senior in electrical engineering.
Wonderful. Welcome. How about Eleanor? Eleanor. Sorry, I have a problem with R and N together. Eleanor.
That was good. I'm Eleanor Heaney, and I am a first-year master's student under Dr. Tolbert.
Wonderful. Welcome. How about Melanie Burnett? I cannot hear you.
She said in the chat she doesn't have a mic.
Oh, okay.
PhD student in electrical engineering.
Okay, great. Sorry, I am like have two screens looking at things. Okay, wonderful. Welcome. How about Shikai Ju?
Hello. Yes,
Hi.
can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Sikai, and I'm senior in electrical engineering.
Great, wonderful. How about Jimmy Wang? Jeannie Wang? No mic? Mic doesn't work? Okay, next time it's better work. Okay, Ming Ling. Ming Ling. Okay, I'm going to move on to Minson Wilson. Mince Wilson.
Yeah, second year PhD and power systems.
Wonderful. Stephen, can you introduce yourself? Okay, Stephen, cannot hear me? Okay, Samantha Moravaki. Is it?
Hi, Dr. Chen. This is Samantha, and I'm a fourth-year PhD student working in power system. Yeah.
Great, welcome.
Thank you.
Right. Did I miss anybody? Raise your hand.
I'll go.
Okay, great.
So I'm Allie. I'm a second-year PhD student in energy science and engineering, focusing on winter storm modeling and winter storm effects on grid resilience.
Wonderful. All right, if I miss anybody, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I'm going to quickly introduce our syllabus. Majaba just joined.
Hi, Steven. Yes, I'm Stephen Fatukun. Yeah, I'm fifth year energy science engineering student. I am with Current. I do my research most majorly in Current, power systems optimization, fast and optimization techniques for grid, renewable energy and grid integration.
Thank you. And then we have Majataba.
Yes.
Can you introduce you?
Hi, this is Mojtaba Deswari. I'm starting the third year of my PhD. I'm working the power system and the control. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you all.
Thank you. And then we have Dr. Tober to join with us. By the way, this seminar is open to all current engineering research center. So it's not just the student who are taking this course. So yeah, Dr. Tober, do you want to say a few words or?
Sure, I'll say hello. And I'm glad that we're having this seminar again this term because I kind of missed it actually last term. And I think it's very valuable for our students to attend. And I encourage all of my students to attend. And that while they may not can attend every single one, they need to attend several because I think it's a good way to broaden your horizons, learn a lot about other work in the area that just gives you a broader perspective.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to, my name is Jeff Chen. I'm an environmental sociologist, also research associate professor at electrical engineering and computer science and with Current. I am the lead instructor for this course. Professor Kevin Bai is also helping me organize this seminar. It's probably one of the easiest course you'll be taking, but most interesting. So this course will introduce interdisciplinary topics in recent empirical studies and industry knowledge in power system, power electronics, renewable energy, adoption of electric vehicles, social behavior economics, policy factors related to all of this technologies. And then this course is going to teach you various different topics, and so practicals, and then also a little bit of research and professional knowledge. So each week we will have different themes and different presenters, and so we have a spectrums of all kind of topic. So I have some course requirement for those of you who are taking this course. It's a 1 credit course, and attendance is 80% of your grade. So you can only mix 1 course without any penalty. I don't need excuses. If you miss one, that's okay. I won't give you any penalty for that. There's no exams, no homework, no hard work. However, you have to pay attention to the presentations. And so every week you are going to post 250 words about what you think about the presentations. And every Friday is a presentation. You have time until Monday, 5 p.m. post on Canvas. I manage all the coursework, everything on Canvas. And email me if you have trouble, you can email me. This 250 words is about your reflection about the presentations. No day homework. So if you are late, sorry you missed that week post. So do you have any questions before I move on? Feel free to email me. I am very accessible to emails. So if you have any questions, let me know. This is I hope you find this presentation all very interesting. All right, so today I'm going to, I'm the first presenter for this course, and let me see if I can, oh, perfect. So today I'm going to present several studies about energy insecurity and energy burdens, and I will explain more details in my presentation from micro level and macro levels. Macro level meaning big data, Micro level would be like maybe just one sample populations. And so I will introduce a lot of concepts. Please pay attention that there are many different ways to study these issues. And ultimately, we need to pay attention to energy insecurity burdens among low-income households. So if you don't know much about CURENT, I encourage you to search online. So CURENT is a NSF-funded engineering research center. It's about power grid, renewable energies, and electric vehicle, power electronics. Many of the students are involved with the center. So I encourage you to contact some of the researchers in our center. So this is a 10 years project. We have 4 universities, UTK, RPN, Northeastern Tuskegee. It's a 10-year project. The funding ended last year. However, the center still exists. The researchers, faculty are still working on the project. It's just maybe not as big as before. We have 140 graduate students each year, undergraduate student about 60, and I manage all the undergraduate research programs here at CURENT. All right, so today I mentioned about micro level and macro level energy burdens, meaning that how much people pay utility bills each month and divided by their household income. And insecurity is for those people who don't have access to secure utilities and they feel suffer or some kind of insecure during their daily life. So I'm going to explain more. So I'm going to present some of the data in UK as well. So I conduct some study in US and then United Kingdom. And then I'm going to mention some of the challenges of using the big data from the social science perspectives. So first of all, I have some research questions. Normally we'll look at the household levels of energy burden, how much household pay for utility bills each month. But here I'm looking at neighborhood. So I'm looking at whether you live in a neighborhood who has more higher energy burdens, are you going to have sort of disadvantages? And here I present a lot of social demographics factor, health indicators, all related to energy burden and accounted for electricity price. So normally people would think, oh, we have higher electricity price, so maybe we'll have energy burdens, higher energy burden, or maybe the weather was a factor. So I'm presenting all this combination of factors and demonstrate concentrated disadvantaged people who have low income, minorities, and also maybe being a single woman in the household. And those kind of social combination of concentrated disadvantages and present the energy burden in the neighborhood effects, not just individual household. So my research questions are, what are the patterns in terms of this energy burdens in the neighborhood and regional effects? And during the pandemic, here I particularly emphasize pandemic of 2020, early pandemic. I know we're still in pandemic, but this is an early pandemic. So what are the main social, economics, and race and necessity factors influence energy burden, accounting for electricity price? So I use 7 representative data sources and merge them together. It took me about 6 months to find all the data set and matching from all the data together. So first one is American Community Survey, which is our census data. And second is a social vulnerability index, meaning that each county or census tract has a number to rank whether that county or location has the higher social vulnerability, and I will explain more later, or lower vulnerability. And CDC also have another index called COVID-19 Community Vulnerability Index. extended from social vulnerability index, and they added COVID-19 deaths and COVID-19 cases. I also use U.S. Department of Energy's low-income energy affordability data tool to estimate how much low-income household will pay for utility bill in 2020, because during that time I could not get household level energy consumption data as a representative data set. So I use estimate from this 2014 and 2015 to estimate. And another one I use U.S. Energy Information Administration data for 2020 at the state level, how much they sell electricity to the particular state, and then do the calculations. And of course, the COVID-19 deaths and cases are my control variables, meaning that they are not my primary variables. They are just control for other effect. And I also have cell phone data. And this is how I calculate, like I mentioned, that energy burden is how much energy expenditure in electricity, gas, and fuel, and divided by their household income, because I did not have household income 2020, so I use an estimation. It's not 100% accurate, but it's close. So because at the county level, people's income level may not change as much, but 2020's data was not available at that time. So I use this calculation and to estimate from 2014 and 2018, 5 years average low-income household energy burden, and estimate 2020's data. All right, so I mentioned a lot of socioeconomics and health predictors from census data. And so we control for electricity price and social vulnerability index. I mentioned that means 4 major things: socioeconomic status, household composition and disability, meaning how many people in your household, how many people have disabled populations in the number of people have disability in your household. Minority status and language, whether they can speak English fluently, and minority status. But I think this measure has some issues because minority residents, they can speak English well. So I don't think this is the best measure. So I use another measurement I'll show you later. Household type, transportation, household composition, and disability. Sorry, this repeat again. So it's basically what kind of household, how many people in your household, are they too many people living in one room? So this is a major sort of your housing conditions and transportation. Do you have vehicle or not? I also use public assistance. Do you get welfare from the government? And family with female heads, and because this is based on a theory, concentrated disadvantage was a theory from sociology. And looking at if that household was leaded by women and with no spouse and no partners, are they going to have more disadvantages in terms of energy burden? Below poverty, of course, income was a big factors influencing our energy burdens. Household with disability populations, age 65 or age below 17, that's all based on the theories I use. Whether people have insurance or not, and COVID cases and COVID deaths. So here I'll show you compare 5 years average 2014 to 2018 energy burden every month and the percentage, and then also 2020. And as you can tell, it's a little bit increase in terms of 2020, especially after COVID hit, March shutdown. And so the number did increase a little bit in terms of energy burden overall. This is all United States. Then if we look at the county levels, so the reason using county level is you can really see the energy burden at the finer grain. If you look at all the state average, it doesn't show as much of serious energy burdens. But if you look at county level, Georgia state, equipment has energy burden over 30% monthly. And then this differences is only 0.45, but this is monthly, still pretty high. And in North Carolina, South Dakota, and my Michigan, and then also MT, what does MT stand for? I forgot. Carter County. So this is a county has over 25% of energy burden. So to me, this is pretty high numbers. If your monthly income, you have to pay 25% of energy bills. That means people have to really save money from doing other things. So we also show that there's a differences in terms of rural and urban area in terms of energy burden in 2014 to 2018. This is five years average is 11.42 in rural area. Urban area was 8.54. And then in 2020, the number increased a little bit. And remember, this is monthly, even a little bit, and this is medium monthly percentage is still pretty high. So if you calculate every 2020 expenditure for rural area county was $214.28. So this is pretty high number for monthly bills. So rural area basically spent over 25% more on monthly utility bills than their urban counterpart. Remember, this is all low-income household. Everything here I present are low-income household. And so energy burden is pretty serious problem still. We did not see much of a change compared to 5 years ago or many years ago, 6 years ago now, 2018 and 2014 to 2018 average. So I use, my collaborators use geospatial regression to present this hotspot and cold spot and to present where the area has the huge increase in energy burden. So you can see the higher number has higher energy burden differences. And then the lower, the lighter color blue, it has the lower energy burdens. And so it shows we still need to think about how we solve this energy burdens in the United States. We also look at the specific underrepresented minority, especially African American. We look at remember this is the neighborhoods, and we look at the neighborhoods. Overall US mandate is average percentage of 10.3. And then if you just, but this number include everything. And so if you look at the state without minority, it was 9.87, but African American mean average energy burden is 12.13, and then Hispanics 10.26%. And so this shows that especially African Americans and Hispanic groups have higher energy burdens in 2020. If we look at the map, here shows the 2020, where are the most hotspot located? And as you can tell here, the hotspot in terms of energy burdens or energy, some researchers call energy poverty. Here shows the highest number in the southeast states in United States. Let's look at the Hispanic populations is mostly, for example, New Mexico has a higher number of energy burdens, and Lincoln County has 40.7% of Hispanics. They have close to 20% of energy burdens in 2020. And here just give you some examples, the concentrated area has a higher percentage of Hispanics population, also have higher energy burdens. Here, we remember I mentioned about socioeconomic status, household condition, minority language status, and the transportations, and that is an index for each county, and we plug it in a regression model and geospatial regressions and multi-scale regression. So I just want to give you an example on the regression models. We did show obviously socioeconomic status are more likely to influence, predict our energy burdens. And if you look at the control for COVID deaths also influence our energy burdens. The higher number here shows the regression weight is higher, meaning that the one standard deviation increase in socioeconomic status, and then 1% of increase in energy burden, and negative is negative relationship. So here it shows all the social economics in housing conditions also important, and transportation also influence our energy burden, including our Hispanics and African American status. Here shows very much a negative number, as I mentioned. It's not the best measure because in census tract, they put it together, energy burden, minority status and language fluency together. So I don't think it's a good measure. Here shows negative. So I use individual race to put it in the regression model. All right, so I also did another analysis. Remember I mentioned about public assistance program, no insurance, and put all the factors together in one model and see which one are mostly important predictors. Here we shows the higher number shows most stronger predictor here. People who are older are more likely to have energy burdens. And then next one would be COVID, oops. Sorry. The next one would be below poverty, people who are poor, people who have disabled, people who being minority status, they are all significantly positive related to energy burden. However, we show that the location shows a negative relationship between public assistance and then also energy burden, meaning that the more you receive public assistance program, the less likely you are going to have energy burden, which doesn't seem right. So and also female household has negative relationship, and this doesn't seem right if they are in a concentrated disadvantaged condition. They should show positive relationship. So that means like all the factors here might be intertwined together. So I took it out, just look at female and look at the public assistance program, and it shows a different sign. So when you do more social policy related factors, it might give you a different sign in your model. So you have to take it apart and do it individually to see the effects. Okay, so overall women had a household had a higher energy burden than non-female had a household, if I just put that independent variables in the models. And then also I look at the Black women compared to white, Hispanics, other, all the different minority race. I found Black women, they face the highest energy burden in comparison with other females in different race. And there's no relationship between Asian women and head of household and energy burden or energy poverty. And all this analysis are control for COVID deaths, COVID and state differences. If I can put state as a control variable, I can control for the weather. I can control all the different socioeconomic status. All right, so here shows that the individual minority women groups, like I say, I only put it public assistance shows all positive relationships. And then if I look at all the females, and it shows some are not significant, some significant. And so here tells us if white women with female household head, they are less likely to have energy burden. But if they are Black women household head, they are more likely to have energy burden. And Hispanics is not significant. And Native Americans are, let me see, they are not significant as well. So every race actually has a different effect. And then in my model also show that here, Hispanics, the COVID deaths actually influence them more than being just Hispanics. So COVID really affects their energy burden. However, Black females, they're being Black females traditionally, just regardless of COVID, they still have this highest energy burdens. So this is how I analyze different race, and then looking at public assistance program, and then also race populations. All right, so that's my macro level, looking at county level. Let's look at micro level. Let's just look at New York or California or Florida. So let's look at the specific states. So during very, very early pandemic, I remember March 2020, and I created this survey really quick because I want to capture the most early pandemic, especially in New York, was very serious, hit by COVID. So I look at the energy usage pattern, climate change perceptions, and then the relationship between social, psychological, demographic factors, and how much people are willing to accept home energy management system during this time. And so I found very interesting, lots of variables in this survey. I also asked trust, how much they trust in utility companies, data privacy, cybersecurity concern. Of these two factors, people are not significant because people still doesn't quite connect cybersecurity concern and data privacy in utility bills and utility data. That's my finding. And you are welcome to read my article in this journal, Energy Research and Social Science. I can send you the article as well. And here, let me show you in February, March and April, this data, the daily energy usage. It's very consistent to a lot of countries' analysis. During the day, people keep using energy. There's no clear peak hours anymore until people go to bed, basically. And of course, from about 8 a.m. all the way to 8 p.m., people use energy, except for probably lunchtime, a little bit decrease. So we also asked about perceptions. How do you think your energy usage is increase or decrease? I think perception is very interesting because we found rich people think that they use a lot of energy, but they don't think climate change is serious. So there's a gap between how much they use and also the connection with climate change and the impact of energy usage. So during early pandemic, about 42% think they use about the same, and then 38% think higher than average. So it's about close, about what they think about electricity usage. And so we also did a statistic analysis in terms of different income groups. And so here I mentioned high income groups. They think they use a little bit higher than before. And then low income group, they use about the same. Most of the people think there's no difference between low income and medium income. So we continue to analyze their bills. We directly ask them, how much money did you spend on their electricity? Oh, before I go into that climate change, I did mention that low income households actually think climate change is worse than 6 months ago. And higher income group actually think they are a little bit better than before. So that's why I think people use energy still doesn't connected to how much carbon emission or climate change. So this is kind of interesting that we see the income differences in terms of their perception about climate change during the early pandemic. In terms of how much people are willing to pay for different purposes for HAMs during pandemic, we asked, are you willing to pay for HAMs for reducing environmental impact, control your household appliances, and visualize the electricity usage? And overall, most people still not willing to pay. And but there's some pretty good percentage of people are willing to pay more than $5 every month. This is talking about the services for HAM to control the appliances, but about 23%, about 23%, they are not willing to pay at all. But people are more willing to adopt, but they are not willing to pay for it. All right, so let's look at the income differences in terms of different features. And overall, higher income groups are more likely to pay for all the features compared to lower income household. And lower income household are less willing to pay for, if you look at this, they are less willing, just a little bit less willing to pay for the control appliances. Maybe they don't even have, smart appliances to be controlled. To begin with. So here shows that how much money they are willing to pay for different amount of the HAM services. We also look at the utility bills during early pandemic, and we see the differences across 3 different income groups in early pandemic. And a higher income group pay for more utility bill than lower income household. And about 20.3% high income pay more than $200 a month. And whereas only 3.5 and then low income household, 8.9 medium household pay for more than $200. This is just the bill. But if we look at the energy burden, we'll have a different story. California, this shows that also has a difference between low income household, medium and a high income household. And so obviously high income household, they pay for a lot in terms of, if you look at the more than $175 up, they pay more. And also they pay more here and they pay less, they pay less in terms of less than $60. And then low income people pay for less energy bills. However, the story are different. When we put it in their household income divided by the household income, it shows the ratio of energy burden differences. And here at every single levels, lower income household has a higher energy burden, range from 3.39 to 10%, over 10% each month. And this is just a small sample in New York, 632. It reflects the same amount of percentage in California data. We have 2,000 people in California, and it also reflects similar to my big data I just presented to you. And one thing is very important to pay attention to is low income also household contain people who are over age 65, people who have disability, and also they need medical needs. Their medical needs affected by heating and cooling. In our sample, about 13% of whole low-income household report their medical needs affected by heating and cooling equipment. And then whereas only 3% of medium and 3% of high-income household participants have these issues. So it's not just how much they pay, it's how much their utility affect their medical needs. So this is something we start talking about this energy justice issue because utility should be the basic needs for human being. All right, so let's That was US. Now that's moved to United Kingdom. I also collect another data, 2,500, over 2,500 people, residents in UK during March to April 2021. So that was 1 year after. Similar ideas, looking at energy burden, internet burden. I did not have time to present internet burdens and all similar ideas. So let's look at the data. So energy insecurity. Some households have to make trade-off between utility or their necessities, like whether you should pay for your utility or medical need or food. And also how much percentage of people face utility disconnection if they don't have money to pay for their utility. And then of course you see this number is pretty high, right? 83% of people don't have this problem, or 68%, 0.5% don't have this problems. However, if you look at this, though number, I still think it's pretty serious for developing countries that we have 13% of people, sometimes they have made trade-off between utility and their necessity. And also, 9%, 6.8% are often do that. So it's still societal issues, even in United Kingdom. And if you look at the percentage of poverty, energy burden, the same ideas in February 2021, low-income household pay 7.63% of their monthly bills, and then they are the highest group. If you compare to higher income group, it's only 2.04%. Renters paying high, disability group paying high, people who need energy as their electronics devices, they pay 5.8%. Energy bills, their energy burden. And so this is a pretty high. It shows the different groups and how much they pay for percentage of utility during the COVID. And so we, my research group, paid particular attention to energy medical needs because this could be a problem for underserved communities. So I also measure how much is psychological stress during this time, and looking at high income, medium income, low income, and low income. So I divided it into 4 groups in terms of their income group. And then overall, it doesn't show a lot of stress, but among the group, low income households still have higher stress, psychological stress, based on 5-point scale, and compared to high income psychological stress. And by the way, this is statistical significant. It's just not very easy to collect really low income household through online survey. That's why sometimes we have to use different methodology to collect data for especially low income household. All right, so if I plug in all the factors, influence energy, environmental concern, I ask people, how much are you going to care about this energy usage during the pandemic? Because we are staying home, we use more energies. And here I put a lot of factors here. Utility bill doesn't seem to have effect. People who are worried about they will get COVID, actually they are more likely to influence, they're likely to think this environment is an issue. And how about they stay home more, they think about this environmental issue more. And then also, if they have a concern about COVID impact their energy and internet burdens, they are more likely to think about environmental issues and psychological stress. All this, are significant predictor. Older people also worry about environmental concern than the younger participants. All right, so another thing I asked is thermal comfort and skipping meals. Like if people, this shows quite different results than the one about bills. So about let's see, close to 30% of participants, sometimes they have to put more clothes or use hot water bottle to stay warm during the pandemic. Or there's 11.4%, sometimes participants have to skip meals to pay for utility bills. So this shows that a lot of people in UK still have this issues that, you know, this energy insecurity issues. So this is reflect as, you know, we have to pay attention to this minority or people who are underserved community. They are more likely to have this thermal comfort issue or skipping meal to pay for their utility bills. All right, I'm going to stop for a second. Do you have any questions before I quit study? Any questions? No? Okay. So another quick study about similar ideas but use of different ideas that is looking at how energy expenditure can help low income and medium income and high income in terms of practicing social distancing and during the pandemic. So we look at the doing nothing compared to other county or resources support, meaning that utility company provide support that, you know, not disconnect your utility bill or social distancing only, not doing anything, or protection and distancing, meaning that give you support and then also doing social distancing. And I'm going to just jump to the conclusion here. We use epidemiological models, and I will skip all this, but basically is you know, a model bring all the parameters into the model. So I just want to show you that low income household, when they are not doing anything, like no interventions, they actually suffer more from middle income and high income in this is county, I think this is California, or I can't remember this county. And then so that means they, when doing nothing, no social distancing, no resources, they are more likely to be exposed to COVID death and then also COVID cases. All right, so when we have social economic strategies and resource protection, social distancing and protection or distancing, we can see all the counties. This is selecting 5 different counties in different states, and we can see the percentage of reductions in terms of COVID cases. So this means that utility and household expenditure can really support lower income household to practice energy, practice social distancing and protect themselves, and then protect everybody if you know, they can have the resources in terms of social distancing, and then they can keep their lights on and keep their household warm. They are more likely to stay home and they can practice social distancing more. All right, so I'm going to jump into the challenge of using our big data. Like I say, it's the minority language usage. Sometimes people give you the secondary data. You have to think about it. Does minority always speak language poorly, or we should separate to look at this different thing, or don't even look at the language, look at the minority status. And then especially when we analyze data, when we analyze energy burden in the state level, we did not see any problems. But if we look at the different region, neighborhood, and then the minority concentrated area, we show the differences. So representations is very important when you look at the different groups. And Simpson paradigm, meaning that a lot of different kind of factors, different groups, and then the result become weird. Like I say, some of the factors intertwine together. Why people who receive public assistance are less likely to have energy burden, because that means they are poor So you have to take it out and analyze it one by one and add the variable one by one. So this is another issue of using big data. And then also in using the appropriate disproportion to benchmark. So what is a high energy burden? What is low energy burden? So this is difficult. You have to read the literature and then look at different studies. Another thing is population biases. Like for example, if you want to analyze, train your data, you think that women are more likely to use Pinterest or Facebook and Instagram, while men are more likely to use like, I don't even know, Twitter or the other one, Reddit. And so this is the biases when you are thinking people, certain group are using different kind of tools, and sampling biases. That's also a big issues in terms of how we analyze big data. All right, my talk is going to finish here. And do you have any questions? Okay, can you raise your hand if you are taking this class? Because we have, like I mentioned, that we have a few participants are not.
I have a question.
Yes.
I didn't know this was a class. Is it still, can you still register?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, this is a one course class, and then you just need to come to the class and listen to a different presenters, and then also you have to write. I post everything on our Canvas. If you did not receive anything, let me know.
Okay.
Yes, and then otherwise we'll see you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay.
Then I will go register quick.
Yes, go ahead. Any other questions in terms of the talk or?
I do have a question on the talk.
Yes.
Did you ever find what was with the inverse relationship between receiving public assistance and lower energy burden? Is that because public assistance was put towards energy, or?
Yeah, that's a very good question. But the thing is, we don't know, because this is, like I say, this is the data from census. If I collect the data, that would be wonderful. But the thing is, this is used census that we don't know the reason. That's why sometimes we have to use different method to analyze the why questions, or sometimes the qualitative questions are more important. But that's a very good question. And even though my study on this big data in terms of social distancing here, the model, we could not, because of the data quality, we could not separate between household expenditure. We can only look at the energy expenditure plus medical plus, we just could not separate. It just has to do with the data. So that's the bad feature about using big data. Sometimes you cannot get what you want. Yeah, so I cannot know whether it is spent in the energy or not.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, any other questions? And just a reminder, please post your comment or your reflection on this talk by Monday, 5 o'clock. As part of your participation, 250 words. That's it. You can write more if you want to. It should be pretty easy. And then there's no right or wrong answer, just what you think about the study, or your thoughts on future research. And then next week, we are going to have Dr. Porgar to present, I think, either wind or power system. I have to look at the calendar. So I will post something online to let you know. Okay, is it 1:50 now? Oh, 1:54. Okay, thank you very much for today's. So I hope you enjoy the class. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Question,
Yes.
If possible, would you mind sending out your paper that you had on the slide so that we could take a look at it?
Yes, yeah, I will post my articles and I'll send a few. That would be great. And then think about, you can also use some of my study to think about your future research.
Mhm. Perfect.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.